What's going on? What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to Blazers Uprise Live here on a Thursday. It's a light week for us, Eric. It's a light week as the Blazers only play one game. They played last night. It was a heartbreaker. It was an overtime loss. You hate to see it. We had the recap already. We can talk a little bit more about that game today, but today I think we're just going to pick two games from picks against the spread. So not only is it a light week in terms of Blazer games, it's a light week in terms of picks against the spread because we got two games today, Eric. And then I guess we'll just take questions. We'll talk a little bit about Malcolm Brogdon. We'll talk a little bit about draft prospects as college basketball starting. The G League is starting. There's a lot of key prospects playing for the G League Ignite. The Rip City Remix, they're starting off their season. So there's a lot to discuss as far as college basketball maybe and prospects. But we're going to take questions. We haven't just sat down and taken questions for like 10 to 15 minutes on a Blazers Uprise Live episode basically all season. So this is a good opportunity to do that. And before we jump into picks against the spread, Eric, how's it going, bro?
Not too bad. I was just thinking about the game last night. It was reminding me a lot of the game early in the season against Phoenix where Jeremy Grant hit that game winner. We just didn't pull this one out. But it felt like, thinking about the game today, it felt a lot like that.
Yeah. Good performance. Like, looking back after a night of sleep, man, like, it was frustrating to lose that game, but Blazers, talent-wise, probably shouldn't have been in that game, to be honest, on the road against Sacramento. With 4 of their top 8 rotation players out, they are the Portland Frail Blazers, is what I'm rolling with right now. Because, man, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who we bring in. They're almost destined to get hurt. Now, we didn't necessarily bring in the healthiest players with Malcolm Brogdon and Robert Williams III, but they're both already banged up. Scoot's already banged up. Anthony Simons. It's just brutal out there right now. Hopefully we'll get Scoot back Sunday. I think that might be the first guy to return, but we will see. Just a rough situation right now, man. Rough right now. Chat, how's your days going? What have you done today, chat? Did you accomplish anything, chat? We got Chiefin in here. What's up, Chiefin? He says, Tori, when are you making the Bucks Uprise channel? Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know. There's a lot going on. But, we're going to keep it steady with the Blazers Uprise content. And we got Devin in here. What's up, Devin? Says, just getting off work, about to head to the gym. Yeah, shout out to you if you listen to us at the gym. Zach moved to a new apartment. He's exhausted. Well, we'll be your relaxation, Zach. And Eric, let's just jump into picks against the spread. We got 2 games, so we don't even have to rush this for once. These were the standings as they were before last Monday, and here are the updated standings. We got Jackson number 1. Now he has sole possession of number 1. Chat, you guys are doing pretty well, 24-15. You guys are number 2. You guys went 6-6 though. There was a lot of around 500 records last Monday. The best records were Jackson at 8-4 and Chase at 8-5. He had to pick 2 double downs, but Chase still down there in 11th. The worst record, Connor. Rough day for you, bro. 3-9. Zach 4-8. Eric, you went 5-7, so you're down there with Crush. Have you been tied with Crush? Well, you guys had different records and now you're tied, but it feels like you've been tied with Crush every episode this year.
Yeah, I think we were tied the first time. So I sent you my picks and then ended up making it to the stream, and I would have gone 8-4 if I did not make the stream, because I second guessed some of my picks and changed them, and then doubled down on the Wizards, which I wouldn't have done. Yeah, so
should have missed the stream, man.
I know.
What I've noticed is it's just a crapshoot at the start of the year because you don't have a feel for teams yet. And that's basically where we're at right now. A couple other interesting things with these standings, like me and 5-3 tied 19-20. Like, Jackson's just absolutely crushing it. It's interesting to look at the skew. Most people go towards the favorites. I gotta fix the percentage for the underdog. So Zach, 56% of the time. I meant to put 56% of the time Zach picks the underdog. Zach is the only one who's picked the underdog more than the favorite. And you can see records for picking favorites and records for picking underdogs. Basically, we suck at picking underdogs. Underdogs win, but we have struggled picking the underdogs so far this year. Everybody's done pretty decently picking the favorite, but only 2 people above 500 when they're picking the underdogs, and that is Jackson and Chat, and that's a big reason why they are number 1. Steven had a 7-4 day, so he's trying to catch up and get out of last place. He's a half game behind. Only picking 1 double down for him today because there's 2 games, but the next episode we'll have him pick 2 to catch up. And any other thoughts on the standings, Eric?
No, still anyone's game. Don't give up, Steven.
Yeah, Steven was like, there's only 2 games today. How am I supposed to catch up? I'm like, you'll have many more opportunities, my guy. We'll see if he can go from 12th to 1st. We're barely into the season, and the first game we got is a good old-fashioned pick-em, Eric. It's the Indiana Pacers hosting the Milwaukee Bucks without Damian Lillard.
Yep, Dame was just ruled out a little bit ago, and then, but Giannis is playing. He was a game time decision. Pacers list no one on their injury report.
All right, chat, there's your poll.
Man, this is a tough game. Well, this one can't end in a push.
Yeah, which is good. We have a lot of pushes this year, it feels like. I'm going Pacers. We got Steven going Bucks, and Steven said he's going Bucks because with Dame out, Milwaukee's defense will be good.
Okay.
He wanted me to troll you guys with that, so we got Crushables going with Milwaukee. We got Chase going with Milwaukee. We got 503 going with the Pacers.
I wonder how many of them thought Dame was playing.
Yeah, I don't know. Steven knew he was out. Actually, I had 503 sent me his, like, I think after it was announced Dame was out, so they're always free to come and stream and make their picks. I should just start telling them that too when I send my reminder. We got Zach with the Bucks. Who are you going with, Eric?
I'm gonna take the Bucks.
Eric goes Bucks. Crushable says, I know Dame is out, but it's still fear the deer. We got Bucks for Trevin. Connor is Pacers. Jackson is Bucks. Aeromancer is going with the Pacers, I assume. And we got Chat going with the Pacers. Alrighty. So we got Chat going. This doesn't count towards underdog or favorite records because it's a pick'em. But we got a 5 versus 7. Me, Connor, Arrow, 503, and Chat going with the Pacers. Jackson, Eric, Zach, Trevin, Crushables, Chase, and Steven going with the Bucks. Both of these games will be on NBA TV, so you can watch them if you so wish. And the second and final game of the day.
Wish we could watch Dame play tonight. That'd be fun.
Yeah, unfortunately, we can't. You got the Magic hosting the Hawks. The Hawks are 3.5-point road favorites.
Yep. So let me update to see if anything changed. Nope. So Wes Matthews, Kobe Buffkin, Muhammad Gee all out for the Hawks. For the Magic, Gary Harris out. Markelle Fultz questionable. Wendell Carter Jr. out.
I'm going with my Orlando Magic. We got Magic for 503. Steven is going Hawks. Chase is Magic.
I'm going to go... Oh. Curse you, Hawks. But I will take you.
Why are you cursing the Hawks? What'd the Hawks do?
Yeah, they... Going back to last year, whenever I double down on them, they get their butts kicked. And whenever I bet against them, they kick the crap out of whatever team they're playing. I cannot win. Literally, it does not matter. If I choose one thing, I'm screwed. If I choose the other, I'm screwed.
Well, you should double down on them and see if that's true this year or not.
No, I did the first week, and they lost. That's the game.
Well,
yeah.
Please double down on them again so that the Magic are a good pick. We got Crushables going with the Magic, and now I need chat's picks.
What's up, Gabe?
We got my guy Gabe in here. We got Magic for Zach and Connor.
It can't be my guy, too.
Everyone is my guy.
Okay.
Except for your guys.
Except for Chris Murray.
Except for, yeah, and Keegan. And Keegan's your guy, too. Especially when he shoots 4 for 17. We got Hawks for Jackson, Hawks for Trevin. And chat is Magic. So Jackson and Trevin were Hawks. And chat is the Magic. So most people going with the underdog. We got Jackson, Eric, Steven, and Trevin going with the Hawks. We got everybody else going with the Magic. And it's time for double downs. My double down is the Magic. Wait, do I want to take the Pacers? No, I'll take the Magic. My Orlando Magic.
Zach's going Magic, too.
I'm below 500, but I'm 3-1 on double downs. It's not like last year where I couldn't win a double down. You remember that?
Well, we all struggled with double downs last year for the most part.
Yeah. Who else went Magic, you said?
Zach.
Okay.
Connor, Pacers. Jackson, Bucks. Trevin and me, reluctantly, Hawks.
Okay. So Jackson was Pacers. Again. He was Pacers last Monday. You said you and Trevin are Hawks?
Yeah. Aeromancer is the Pavers.
The Indianapolis Pavers.
Yes. Jackson was Bucks. Connor was Pacers.
Okay. Connor is Pacers. Jackson is Bucks. We got Bucks for Crushables.
And Steven has to double down on both, right?
Nah, I just said like next time we can, because there's only 2 games. It's like not. It's like he wouldn't even be picking double downs at all. So
yeah,
it kind of defeats the purpose.
True. Should just had ties.
Okay, so Bucks for Steven. We got Crushables going with the Bucks. We got 503 going with the Magic. Chase's Bucks. And did we want to do a chat poll? What do we want to do for chat?
Yeah, there's only 2, so do a chat poll.
Okay. All right. Chat pool. Double down. Who is their 2 picks?
Pacers and Magic.
These were the two teams that people thought would take a jump, and so far it's kind of been looking like it. The Pacers are 5-3, the Magic are 4-3. They're both above 500.
Junior says chat is Blazers.
Well,
Blazers covered
that's an
last
automatic L because they can't win today because they don't play. Chat is Magic, 69% of the vote. Good job, chat. Proud of you. All right. And there we go for double downs. We got 5 people on the Magic. It's me, Zach, 503 Chase, and chat. Let's get it, chat. We got 2 people on the other 3 teams playing today. We got Jackson and Crush on the Bucks. We got Eric and Trevin on the Hawks. And we got Connor and Arrow on the Pacers. That concludes Picks Against the Spread, which is brought to you by BetUS. If you want to get in on any of this action, you got 5 minutes until that Bucks game tips off. You can head over to BetUS. Use that link in the description box below. Get a 125% deposit match. So whatever you deposit has to be at least $100. Whatever you deposit, they will match 125% of it. So if you deposit $1,000, you'll get $1,250. If you deposit 100, you'll get 125 on top of that. So that's 225. Good math by me. Anyway, Eric, do you want to talk prospects? I know this is your favorite thing, right? And college basketball starting soon, and at this point when we're going into a rebuilding year, we should be paying attention from the start. Last year we were focused on the Blazers winning games. We weren't super paying a ton of attention. Also, we didn't know, if we made the playoffs, we're not going to have a pick. But this year, it's we're very, very likely to have a lottery pick, and we also have the Warriors pick.
Yeah.
And
wish we had our own second.
I don't even remember. Do we have any seconds this year?
No, but I wish we did.
We should. But, we can always trade into the second round as well, especially when you consider the fact that we could be trading, various role players at the deadline for picks. We could have a pick in any range in this draft. Oh, it says Tankathon says we have 2 second-round picks.
Let me check. I just was saying we don't have our own, but... Oh, the Memphis one, I think. Was that the one that... Okay, we have Atlanta's, and we have most favorable between Charlotte or Minnesota.
Yeah, so right now we'd have the 9th, 24th, 35th, and 50th picks.
Nice.
Yeah, so, that's basically in every range in the draft, so to say. So, we're going to keep you covered all season long. I highly recommend enjoying the draft process this year, If you've never really watched much college basketball or, done much scouting, I find it a lot of fun to try and predict what prospects are going to be good, what prospects I think are overrated. It makes it fun in a year that's, it's already looking like a bit of a struggle, unfortunately, because of injuries. I do think it's a lot of fun to try and analyze prospects and that sort of thing, and especially with a number of key guys playing for the G League Ignite, and now that Portland has a G League team, you'll be able to watch the G League Ignite play in Portland 2 games in a row in late January. I think it's January 23rd and 25th. I might be wrong on that. So you can go watch Ron Holland, Matas Buzelis, Izan Almansa, Izan. I don't know. I need to make sure I say his name right. But you can watch those guys in person playing against the Rip City Remix in January. So we're going to have this covered all season long, and it's definitely fun. So, try it out yourself. Get in on this college basketball action, G League a little bit, and talk prospects with us because we love this stuff. So it's always fun to have people in chat that can talk prospects with us too. So anyway, Eric, who are you Is there anything this week that you're planning on watching already, or prospects in particular that you're planning on watching early on in the season?
No, early on in the season, I like to just kind of watch all the main teams that have players with, players that are being mocked in the first couple rounds, and then so if I'll see, for example, the I forgot what night that was, last night or 2 nights ago, I think. Baylor was playing, so I recorded to watch Jacoby Walter, who had a really good game. And yeah, just kind of like that. Trey Alexander for Creighton looked really nice. He might have made a really good decision to go back to school to improve his draft stock, but he's also a little older, so you never know about that. So yeah, I just kind of look and see what games are on that night and record the ones that have prospects that I want to watch.
Yeah. Justin Edwards, I have no idea. Like, I barely know about him. He's at Kentucky. He's a projected lottery pick, high-end lottery pick. 6'7", small forward with some size. You always have to take heights with a grain of salt because Ron Holland is listed at 6'8", but I think he's more 6'6". I'm just curious to see Buzelis and Holland, how they do in the G League. I am not sold on anyone. The guy I'm highest on right now is Alexander Sarr.
Yeah, me too.
Just because of his tools plus skill set. And he's kind of the modern big that can play the 4 or the 5, defend on the perimeter, block shots, knock down threes, put the ball on the floor a little bit, right? And I feel like the Blazers are going to need to find that sort of big in the Western Conference when you're going to have to deal with Chet and you're going to have to deal with Wemby for multiple years. So right now, if the Blazers had the number 1 pick and I had to make a decision, I would pick Sarr, to be honest with you. But that's, not a super educated decision right now because the season's just starting, and I need to see more of Buzelis. I need to see more of Holland. I need to see more of Justin Edwards. And I feel like this is the year where a guy can jump up from, like, right now being a mid-first round projected pick to, like, a top 3 pick. We saw it happen last year with Brandon Miller, who was not a top 3 prospect going into the season. He was more so, like, late lottery to later in the first round, and he had a really good season and skyrocketed to the eventually number 2 overall pick. So there's always those types of prospects that could rise that we're not really looking at right now if we're just looking at the top of the draft board. But at the end of the season, we could be saying that guy would make a ton of sense for us if we have the 2nd, 3rd, 4th overall pick. Who knows? So that's why watching some of these guys early is intriguing, because you don't really know where the draft board lies.
It's always so weird scouting guards too, because I still think the Blazers definitely do not need guards, but if there's a really good one, like, do you draft best player available like we did last year, or do you, go kind of on need? Like, I never really liked that philosophy, but I also think like it would be really dumb for us to draft a guard and not trade that pick if that's what we're going to do. So, because I really like Tyrese Proctor. I think he's going to have a huge year this year. And then there's Kentucky's got DJ Wagner. There's USC's got Isaiah Collier and eventually maybe Bronny. Yeah, so like I want to watch these guards play. Like, well, I was watching Jacoby Walter and he's like, wow, this is a really good prospect, but like I don't know, he's kind of duplicative of Sharp, so like I don't really know what to do with some of those prospects. Like, watch them from the Blazers perspective or from just like a draft perspective.
I wouldn't mind taking a big guard that can maybe slide up and play some 3. So like something at 6'5", 6'6", right? Because long term, if they don't keep Ant and you have Sharp in the starting lineup, like if it's another guard with Sharp that has enough size to play some 3, and you just play both those guys at the wing spots and they can switch among the 2 and the 3, then I think it might be something that could work. Also, we would need a scorer off the bench or just a player off the bench if we trade Brogdon. Not that needs to play heavy minutes, but if you're looking at a combo guard that can play the point or the 2 with some size, then that could be something that fits, kind of like what Malcolm Brogdon is. But hopefully in the future, like, Scoot is playing 35 minutes a game because he's great, and Sharp's playing 35 minutes a game because he's great, and you got Ant. Like, it's more so the same thing that we've always talked about. We need forwards. We need forwards, and we need to find a forward with star potential, like somebody that has legitimate size with legitimate star potential. That's why I like Sarr so much. is because if we move off Ayton, he could maybe be the center. But also I could see him fitting really well next to Ayton and fitting really well at a power forward spot and having his rim protection with Ayton and maybe Robert Williams. If he can ever get healthy, you got a lot of rim protection there, and you got some size on the interior finally, where you can maybe get away with running Scoot, Sharp, and Ant if you have a Sar and an Ayton as your starting bigs. So that's why I'm high on him. But like there's other guys like Almanza has some solid size, and he's an intriguing prospect.
Almanza's kind of like he's like kind of a mix between Sohan, maybe not the point guard skills Sohan has, but Tamani a little bit, like a hustle guy, you know. Maybe I mean he's more of a big than Tamani is than a wing, but and then there was someone else I was just thinking of that he reminded me of, and I forgot who it was, but I think he could be a solid like role player defensive guy, especially if his offense comes around, which is the kind of forward we need. Oh, Robert Williams is the other guy I was kind of thinking of, like kind of along that mold.
With him, I'm just, what is his upside is my question for him. Like, that's something where I'm going to need to watch him and come up with my own answer as to what I think his upside is. Because that's the question. If the Blazers are sitting here with like the 6th, 7th overall pick, do you take a role player type guy, or do you need to take a swing on the highest upside prospect? Yeah. And I still think we need time this season to figure out just kind of what we should be swinging for in the draft if we're not drafting at the top. But that's the problem, is you got a lot of prospects that aren't clear-cut star-level prospects. Like, you know, Wemby is a guy that you take 100 times out of 100, the number 1 overall pick, like he's a generational prospect, you know. And Scoot might never end up being a star, but Scoot would have been the number 1 pick in this draft. Like, there's question marks with basically every player in this draft. So it's hard to be sold on any one of them. So that's going to be the intriguing debate, is just like, do we take a guy that could be that role player, just a glue fit if we're drafting at 6, 7, 8, because that's Almanza's range, or do we swing for upside? And is there anybody on the board with legitimate enough upside to take over an Almanza? That's the other thing with this draft not looking the strongest right now.
I don't know if that's, I don't know, based on recent drafts, that might be overthinking it a little bit in my mind, because we see players like Walker Kessler and Mark Williams who don't seem to have like huge upsides, but they've come in and been pretty dominant at times.
They've been good, but they ain't going to be stars, I don't think.
No, I know, but like, wouldn't having a guy like that on the team right now be kind of what we need? Like, we have the star scoring upside guys already on the team. Like, I don't know if we necessarily need a star scoring center.
It's just, do we need a star forward?
Yeah.
Do we need a star forward? I mean, you just look at the teams that do well. It's like the team that has Giannis, the team that has Jokic, the team that has Tatum, the team that has Jimmy Butler. Like, I know Jimmy Butler's kind of a guard, but he's like 6'7", you know, he's big enough to play the 3, maybe even some 4, because he's strong enough and competitive. Like, do we need that? Or can we get by if it's like Scoot, Ant, Sharp? Can we contend one day with that? If we just have like good role players in the front court and good role players around them? I mean, maybe we can. I'm not saying we can't. It's just, that's kind of the question I think long term this team needs to answer. Do they need that star level forward that can just dominate and really draw a lot of the attention of a defense, because they're bigger, they're able to post, able to drive, able to shoot, able to handle, just able to do it all like a lot of the star forwards for contending teams are able to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know, if we had a slightly better like version of Jeremy Grant, I think that would be good enough if Scoot and Sharp hit their close to their ceilings.
Yeah. So that's the question we need to answer, and that's the draft. This year's draft ties into whatever we need. That's the fun part of the draft is there the answer in this draft with where we're picking for what we need and what exactly do we need and what exactly should we swing for. It's not a clear-cut thing by any means. That's why the draft is fun to me, is because even GMs and scouting departments that are paid to get this right, every GM and scouting department, if they're around long enough, will have a massive whiff and a massive hit in the draft. There's no clear-cut science to it. So, looking forward to hearing the opinions of chat. We got a question from Jonathan Evers. Says thoughts on Riley Kugel. Is that how I say his name? Kugel? Plays at Florida. I know that. I haven't really watched him a ton. When I've watched Florida games, I've paid attention to other guys like a Keontae Johnson. Back before he had his cardiac arrest. Who was their most recent draft prospect? Colin Castleton was a guy who's on a two-way.
Yeah, I watched a few games last year for Castleton. I don't know. He didn't really stand out that much, but he's the man this year. So he needs to be that guy, take a huge jump. So he's a guy who could shoot up draft boards as well. But for the Blazers, once again, 6'5" guard. I don't know. It's tough.
Yep. We got a comment from Chief and Blazers says Scoot is trash. Why are we doing this, bro? Change your name to Chief and something else. Or just Chiefin. Just take the Blazers out. Sherman says Mathurin looking good. That whole Pacers team looking good. Pacers off to a hot start against the Bucks right now. So we'll have you guys covered talking draft prospects, especially on post-game shows too. If it's a blowout loss or maybe a blowout win, maybe we'll get one of those at some point. We'll see. Jonathan says 23 points with 6 steals in game 1. Not sure if he maintains that though. Yeah, I mean that's a good first performance. Who'd they play though?
There was a lot of good performances.
That's the thing though, is a lot of these big time schools are playing small schools or schools that you can't really aren't a good gauge for NBA prospects.
Mm-hmm. USC plays later tonight if you want to watch Collier, but they're playing Cal State Bakersfield, to your point.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully Bronny will play at some point. Should get a determination on if he'll be cleared or not soon, it sounds like. So I'm definitely curious to see how good Bronny is at the D1 level, playing for USC.
Oh, Baylor already played today. Jacoby was 3 for 9, 7 points. And this game wasn't anywhere near as good as the first game.
Is he just like a scorer like Keontae George was? Is that just kind of like the same archetype? Same school?
Yeah, kind of. I don't know, I think he's a little bigger than George is. He looked like a legit 6'4", 6'5"-ish.
Chat, we'll take questions for the final 10 minutes of the stream or so. If you have any Blazer questions, prospect questions, or just any questions at all, we will answer them. We will do our best. And then we'll wrap up the stream.
Hope Zach's move went well today. Switching it up.
A lot of people are moving, it sounds like. If we don't get questions, then I don't know what we do. We just end the stream, I guess.
Is chat frozen?
Nope. Chat's just dead, man. Unfortunately.
Gotta refresh my stream to see what's going on.
Oh, there we got questions. We got 3 questions. Nice. Rumo says, what do y'all think about Ron Holland? I think his size is over-exaggerated in terms of what he's listed. He's listed as 6'8". He doesn't look 6'8" to me. Also, I have questions about his explosiveness. I don't know. When I watched him, Eric, the couple of times that I've watched him, it's just he's a good player. I'm just not sure what one area he excels in.
Well, he's a really good defender.
Yeah. Yeah, most of the time when I watch players at the top of the draft, I watch them mostly for offense because you're trying to find that offensive star, that star caliber player that can run your offense one day. I don't know. Like on the offensive end, yeah, he's a really good defender. He'd be good for this team, for sure. Like I would definitely look at Ron Holland. It depends on if he's big enough to play 3 though.
Yeah, if he measures like 6'7" without shoes or something, I think he'll be a top 3 pick. If not, if he measures like 6'5.5", or like similar to Sharp's measurements, I think that could hurt him a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, he needs to show me that he excels in an area this year. That's what I'm looking for from him. Like Brandon Miller, I wasn't super high on him, but, like, at least he excelled as a shooter. Like, you knew he was going to come in, he was going to be able to shoot the ball. So that's my thing with Ron Holland, is he can play for sure. He can attack. He's crafty with some of his finishes, some of his footwork in the paint. It's just, where does he excel in offensively is my question for him.
If you're the Sixers, do you trade for guys this season like Brogdon or Jeremy, or wait until free agency? We kind of talked about this the other day.
Yeah.
But
no, it's a great question, though. Depends on... I mean, they need to see what this team looks like over the next 30 games. They're playing great to start the season, but probably want to see it on more of a sample size. And if they're sitting there in first place in the East, they probably don't need to do anything. They can save their assets and see how it goes in the playoffs, because subtracting Harden didn't hurt them at all. And I think you look at the way things have gone for them, this might be the best team that they've had, and it has the least amount of star power that they've had in years. Right? Like, they had Jimmy Butler. They had Ben Simmons when he was a star. They had James Harden, right? But now it's Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey is turning into a star. And you got, like, Kelly Oubre is revitalized. And I think that's a big part in determining if they need to trade for a scorer or not, is if Kelly Oubre can keep it up. And then, it's just a lot of good role players. They're really well coached with Nick Nurse. They could maybe go for a third guy to take a little bit of the pressure off of Oubre. They could maybe use that third guy offensively. Brogdon would make some sense because I don't think he'd be the lead guard. Like, you'd still allow Tyrese Maxey to be the lead guard, but then Brogdon could take some of the pressure off of him and produce. Mm-hmm. So I think Brogdon would make a lot of sense for them. In the end, I don't think they're going to feel the need to go all in for anything.
Well, they could always like retrade those guys this summer, I guess. But it's tough though, because if you wait for the off season, you're like wasting another year of Joel Embiid, and that's it. In my opinion, I don't think they have the firepower. Like, I know they're playing pretty well right now, but I don't think they can beat Boston or Milwaukee when they're at, playing, later in the season. They should be clicking a little more. So I don't know if they can beat them in a playoff series. Joel Embiid's proven that you can't be counted on to win a series because he's never been out of the second round. So, I mean, he's pushing 30 years old. At some point, you got to stop waiting for the off season and go for it. So I could see either way. I don't think it's like hugely wrong to do either way, but I'd be surprised if they just kind of waited and didn't at least go for someone on an expiring deal, like maybe one of the Clippers guys if they blow it up, like we talked about last night. So I think they will. I think they will get somebody, but I'd be kind of surprised if they did go for someone like Jeremy Grant, who would lock them into their team for several years.
Yeah. Thoughts on Trevon Brazil? That's somebody I need to watch more of. When I watched Arkansas games last year, I was focused on everyone from Nick Smith Jr. to Anthony Black to Jordan Walsh to Ricky Council. So I need to pay more attention to Brazil. I was paying attention to the
Clowney?
more.
Was Clowney Arkansas or Alabama?
Clowney was Alabama, yeah. Sometimes I mix up Arkansas and Alabama players too. SEC, same colors. Yeah, so they had a number of NBA guys, so it'll be interesting to see. I know Brazil is really good for him, though. How long until Tamani starts? I don't know. When's our next injury going to happen? Probably then. So, yeah, at this rate, 2 games from now. Hopefully we can stop getting screwed by injuries, though, because it's freaking frustrating. It sucks. For wing, what archetype do you think will fit our team best? 3-and-D with a little bit of shot creation.
Yeah, obviously.
It doesn't force,
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think Kamara gets a new contract after this season? So Kamara's contract actually is a 4-year contract. He's in the first year of a 4-year contract. The next 3 years are non-guaranteed, but at this point, they're going to get picked up.
Yeah.
And it's very, very cheap. So he's not a free agent until 2027.
Mm-hmm. There's no reason to not pick that up.
Yeah, they're just going to appreciate having a player like that on that cheap of contract. And then Spacebar had a question. He said, have you guys seen the difference between the plus-minus when Tamani is in any lineup compared to when he is not in the lineup? It's crazy. Yeah, I was noticing that last night on the post-game show. I was talking about the box score, and Tamani was like a +7 in a game that we lost. And, plus-minus, as I was saying last night, plus-minus in one game is a very noisy stat because it's a small sample size if it's only based on one game. If you look at it over the stretch of 10 games, it's much more of a sample size where you can start pointing towards it and saying, this team is consistently better every game with him on the court. And you look at the Blazers' best 5-man lineups, and Tamani's in 4 of them. And I don't think that's just a crazy coincidence over 8 games. I think it's because he's the best and most versatile perimeter defender right now. And he plays the right way. He doesn't force things. He rebounds. He boxes out. He does all the little things. And he's the type of player that we needed, and it's crazy because he's not even efficient right now. He's not even hitting shots right now. So imagine if he starts hitting threes or starts making shots, then he's a really good role player.
Yep, I agree.
Any news on Brogdon yet? Not that I've seen. Have you seen any?
No updates yet. I was hoping we got some breaking news or something during the show, but yeah.
With all our guard injuries, will Skylar get converted? I'm not sure. I think they'll use up his 50 games and then maybe convert him if they have the roster spot around the trade deadline.
Mm-hmm.
Because they can play him for 50 games. So unfortunately, they can't sign 10 days right now because they could maybe use one for a guard spot. If Chicago has a fire sale, are you interested in trying to bring in any of their guys to Portland? Not the guys that they would sell, which would be Vucevic, DeRozan, and Levine.
Yeah. I'm still interested, though, if they got assets for them. I mean, obviously, they probably wouldn't want Brogdon anymore if they're blowing it up, but
yeah.
I don't know.
Go ahead.
You could... I'm all for just, taking on Lonzo if they want to give us our first back. I don't know how. I don't think we necessarily have to give up a good player in that trade, but if that's, part of a bigger trade where Brogdon goes to another team and something goes to Chicago and we get Lonzo and our pick back along with maybe a pick from whatever team Brogdon goes to, I'd be down for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. No news might be good news. Yeah.
You never know with the Blazers. You can't read anything into anything because, yeah, Ant was probable to play and then has, less than 24 hours later is having surgery and is out 6 weeks. So, there's so many things like that with the Blazers.
Yeah, absolutely. Pacers up 30-12, Eric.
Yeah, they're killing it. Dude, the Pacers offense when they're clicking, man, is so hard to stop.
And they're clicking right now. This looks like another one of those games. They got 39 minutes into the game. They had 134 last night, 152 the game before.
So maybe Dame isn't the problem with the Bucks defense, Steven?
Oh man, I'm gonna text him that. Indiana has 30 points with 3 minutes remaining in the first. 3 laughing face emojis. We'll see what he says. That's so funny. The backfired on him. He was doing that just to troll. And stream's not even over, and that troll job is over. Because,
No,
yeah.
I'm not letting him get away with that. He's one of those people who's like, I love Dame, but all the freaking time. Like he always does that on your guys' show. He always does that when he fills in on this.
No, he literally said it like this. He literally said just to troll and piss everyone off.
He's totally the hate on Dame, and be like, no, what? I love Dame. I'm just not biased, like, that kind of thing. Like,
he said, "Ha ha ha! I'm watching it. It's almost funnier this way. Ha ha! Now everyone will hate my opinions more."
I don't hate his opinion. He does hate on Anthony Simons for sure.
Yeah, the Anthony stuff is a little much for me, but he owns it, which I respect. Like it's funny. It's people getting mad watching our podcast, which we're gonna record the next one tonight. People get mad watching our podcast, and it's like, why are you getting so bad? Like that's kind of the point of our podcast. Is like Steven will say some stuff that drives us all crazy, and I will argue with him on it. And some people out there that don't watch our stuff would agree with Steven and think I'm like Steven and I say the crazy stuff. That's why it's called Scorching Trails. Because Steven has some scorching hot takes sometimes. And, we just go back and forth. It's fun, It's completely different from, me and you, where we don't argue much. And that's the point, is to give you guys something different. If you don't like it, that's fine, But that was the whole point of the podcast, and doing some different stuff was keeping it fresh,
You need someone with crappy takes to do that. No, just kidding.
Hey, I've had my share of crappy takes too, Like I was drinking the Kool-Aid with the Blazers all season long, defending Chauncey, and now I'm looking back at that like, why in the world was I defending Chauncey? Now, I like logically it made sense to give him some leeway, but at this point I'm just all out on Chauncey. Some people think that's crazy, which is a rare few, but yeah. So my podcast with Steven will come up tomorrow. Looking forward to that. And yeah, we'll see what he says. We'll see what we get into.
Do we still want Kendrick Williams from OKC? Absolutely not.
No, we are in rebuild mode.
He's not the right player for what we should go for right now.
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to sound stupid, but I'd rather take a flyer on Poku or something like that than Kendrick right now.
Yeah, Poku, given that Robert Williams is out and we're in rebuild mode, like, why not? If he comes cheap, yeah, I agree. Anyway, I think the stream is a wrap. Chat, thank you for talking to us. Thank you for giving us questions. One final question: who would you guys pick if we have a top 5 pick? Sarr right now is my guy.
Mine too.
But we still need to learn more about a lot of these prospects. Yeah. Like, it's early, so.
Yeah, so much is going to change between now and then.
Yep. Worried about Bucks defense with Dame. I mean, worried about the Bucks defense without Dame, because they've given up 30 points in the first to the Pacers. 33 with a minute 30 remaining to the Pacers. So
it's also a situation where I believe the Miami Heat with Dwayne Wade, Bosh, and James, their first year, they were like 11-10 or something.
Yeah.
After 21 games, something like that. I might not be exactly right, but and everyone was questioning them and stuff. Like, a lot of times these things, it just happened end of September too. Like, they didn't have a ton of time to get together and work on things prior to a short training camp and then preseason, which they barely played in. So I think they have a new coach as well. So a lot of the guys that were there are getting used to having a new voice as well. So I don't know. Maybe just give it a little bit of patience and time. I don't think. And Dame is the type that has struggled at the beginning of seasons, or seemingly been in a funk at the beginning of seasons before too, and is fine. I think he's just trying to fit in, and he'll figure it out. I'm not worried about it.
Yep, I agree with all of that. So with that being said, that's a wrap. We'll be live again on Sunday. We're gonna have 2 days off in a row, which is very rare in the middle of the season, with Monday, Thursday streams, and then post-game streams every time. So, yeah, I'm going to enjoy a couple days off. We're going to have a Scorching Trails podcast tomorrow. Also going to have some videos, so still going to be bringing in some of the content, and just stay tuned for that. Appreciate all of you for supporting the channel and tuning in. We're out of here. We'll catch you Sunday. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.